Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the tangle Sampa or Sampa. I'm not sure which, tomato, tomato, right? By CZT Dina Shaffer. I've seen this one bopping around the ribbon on tanglepatterns.com, and I was like, oh, I really need to look at that. I didn't think first I thought I had. I'm like, nope, I haven't. It makes me think of Cubine. So if you like Cubine, you will like this. This one might be a little bit easier. Not sure, but I love a grid pattern. I especially love ones that have the optical illusion or op art kind of built in. So I'm going to do this as a grid, well, as a 4 square grid pattern. I already said it was a grid pattern. All right. Then in each box, and I'm going to do this in the upper left, just a little dot, a little ways away from the corner, just one dot, and it doesn't have to be big. It'll end up blending in to the pattern. Okay. Then, and my step 2 and 3. It doesn't matter which way you do them, but I'll go ahead and do two first. Here's how this is forgiving. So it doesn't matter, if where you put these, this will make it forgiving. So from the dot, I'm going to take from the dot and going out to that left corner, and then from the dot to the other corner. So kind of diagonal, but the reason I said that it was this could be forgiving is because maybe you don't like me. When you do a grid pattern, it's not always exactly square. See, so some of them look more diagonal, some of them don't. Again, this is what makes it forgiving in my mind. All right. Probably maybe should have made a little bit bigger dot, but you can see where the dot is. Then from that dot, we're going to go to the other corners. Really, you could think of it as you're just taking that dot to each corner. And you can do it like this, where you do, going from the dot to one corner and then come back and do the other. It's completely up to you. Part of me is realizing, well, that was really silly. I could just have said it all in one. And that's probably why in Dinah's step out, all of these steps are in one. I just kind of wanted to separate them a little bit, just because that's how my brain was working at the moment. I thought, well, let's just do that. All right. Then we're going to fill in, looking at it this way, fill in the top section. And I've switched to my graphic 1, just for quicker filling in. Do just have to be a little careful on the edges. And sometimes I stay a little bit away from the edges, or at least the corners, because this is thick. And I try not to go, oh, I can do that. No, because what ends up happening is then I go over and then I'm sad. We can't have that. And a lot of times, if you just outline it, that seems to help. But it is a nice little time saver to use a thicker pen. Like I said, if you get a little like this, just trace over the edge a little bit. You can course correct there. That's how I would do it if I was, because sometimes it'll just get lumpy. And then 2, if for some reason, so like this, my line didn't start right where I wanted it. So course correcting, we can just fill that right in. Anything that you need to do as far as that goes, things go awry. That's why I love the fill in, for that reason. There's so many options to course correct. All right, then in this big section, right, we're just going to do some straight lines. And you can have these as close together or as far apart as you want. You could, I'm using more of a heavy or deliberate stroke. You could do them where it's a little lighter. A lot of times I'll do that and I'll make them a little closer together because then it doesn't matter if they're like straight or not. It still doesn't really matter. But when you're making deliberate lines, it, you know, we'll call it on the Zentangle scale of mattering. Oh, I'm gonna have to. Oh, I'm gonna have to write some of that down. I'm gonna have note to self: re-listen to this recording because I'm not gonna write it down now because I'm tangling. I'm sorry, I cracked myself up, and I hope I crack you up too. And if you, you know, and so I think I'm gonna work on that. The scale of mattering. If you have some good ideas, you can put them in the comments. All right. Okay. Then with your pencil, we're going to fill in these sections with the pencil. Now what's neat about this is, and I would use a light touch and kind of on the side so you don't get any grooves in your blah paper and you don't do what I just did. The pencil got away from me. And this, if you, it also helps if you're working on a Zentangle tile or something where the graphite moves well. If you're using cardstock, not that it's bad to use cardstock, you just have to know how the graphite works. What I found with cardstock, and some of the like the smoother papers, is it the graphite doesn't move so well. So, for instance, you might see these lines still in there, and that's why using it on its side helps, especially with that. But this, because you can see how it blends, you know, real nice. But that way you can just put a little squiggle like that in the middle, and you're just spreading and moving around that graphite and filling in the section solid. And it's nice to realize that because that way you don't have to worry about doing it with the pencil. It's so much more smooth with using the tortillon. And also on the smoother fabrics, the smoother papers. One thing that I noticed is, and when you're using a tortillon versus a stump, and that is, well, let's see if I can get that there in focus. And do I? Oh, I don't have a stump handy. A stump is more like compacted, where here you can see these ridges. This is rolled paper. The other is too, but it's compacted and it feels like felt sort of on the outside. It's a different animal. But what I notice is even when I'm using cardstock or anything, if I can get it on the side so that the grooves will be more accessible to picking up the graphite and moving it. Because sometimes, you know, I can kind of use it this way. You never want to use it on the tip because then you just mash the tip down and then you have to. It's never quite the same when you poke something in the hole to poke that out. It's never quite the same, but you know, at least it extends the life. But if you're having trouble with the graphite not moving, try it on. Get a new one and try it on its side more, just because it, like I said, it seems to help. So there we have it. That is it. And how neat. And you know, picturing this on a bigger scale, or maybe on a bigger grid scale, or having these be a little bit smaller, it's just really, really cool. And um, Linda put in her, and actually in her blurb about this, and if you scroll down, it's probably right before the step out, she has a graphic where it's changing direction. And what's neat is that it takes on a different look depending on, you know, which direction you have it. So really, really fun. It was like, it's similar to Cubine, but different. And yeah, just really, really cool. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, would love to have you click like. And if you liked it enough to see more, I'd love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. In the description section, you'll find links to step outs. I always do my own version and then link to, you know, either where I found it or the originator of the tangle. And below that, ways to connect with me if you wish. I have a link to my website where you'll find classes that I do. I do teach twice weekly. And, oops, hold on. I had hit the cough button. Um, and it defeats the purpose if I tell you, right? Um, but you'll see I do classes twice weekly. I have a lot of them are free. Thursdays, it's called Tangle Time. Those are always free. Occasionally, they might not be on Thursday. I've not ever canceled. I've just rescheduled, and I know at the time of this recording. So this is we're at the beginning of May, so I know it might be that there's a week, one of the Thursdays I have to reschedule. So I'm just telling you. So if you decide to join, that way you are aware. Below that, a Facebook link. So if you happen to be on Facebook, I have a link to my page so you can follow me there. And last but not least, if you'd like to hang out with a bunch of amazing yet crazy Tangle addicts, we would love to have you join our group on Facebook. So we have a private group. It's a lot of fun, a lot of inspiration, and just gushing with positivity. I love how this group has just become into being over the last, I don't know, 3 or so years. It's just amazing. So much fun. But anyway, we'd love to have you. So you can join us there. Know that there are a couple of membership questions to gain entry, just so you're aware. And with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.